Caylee Anthony sat in court, looking at the judge. She wasn't worried. Instead of being worried, she was yawning and smiling at times. This was the woman who had been accused of murdering her 2-year-old daughter, Caylee Anthony. But what did the evidence say? What had really happened to Caylee? Did her mother kill her? It all started back in June of 2008 in Orlando, Florida. Caylee Anthony was living with her parents, Cindy and George Anthony, along with her infant daughter, Caylee Anthony. Caylee was going through a messy divorce with her ex-husband, who lived in another state. On June, Caylee told her mother that she was going to go out for a few hours, leaving Caylee with her grandmother. After a few hours had passed, Caylee called her mother and said that she wanted Caylee back. When Cindy asked if she could keep Caylee a little longer, because Caylee had been acting strange lately, Caylee got angry and demanded that her daughter be returned immediately. Caylee then drove over to her parents' house. She got out of her car and knocked on the door. When Cindy opened the door, Caylee asked for Caylee, but Cindy refused to give her daughter up until Caylee explained why she needed her. Caylee said that she needed Caylee for a dentist appointment. Caylee even offered to bring Caylee right back after the dentist appointment. However, Cindy still didn't want to give up her granddaughter. She would only relent after Caylee promised that she would be back before 7 p.m. Caylee agreed.
Oh.
Cindy gave her daughter to her and closed the door. However, Cindy soon noticed something strange. Caylee's car was still parked in the driveway when she thought that she had left. What Cindy didn't know was that her daughter had taken Caylee and abandoned her somewhere. The next day, Caylee Anthony called 911 to report that her daughter had been missing since the night before. She told the operator that she last saw Caylee with her grandmother, and that she was sure that her grandmother had given Caylee away to someone. Caylee claimed that she hadn't seen her daughter since June 16th. When officers showed up at the Anthony family home to investigate, they quickly learned that Caylee's story didn't make sense. They questioned Caylee and her parents, but none of them knew where Caylee was. In the days that followed, Caylee would often break down in tears while talking about her daughter. She told reporters that she was certain that her daughter was alive. However, she refused to let the FBI use a camera to search the family home. Caylee said that she didn't want the FBI poking around her house. As time went by, it became clear that Caylee Anthony was hiding something. She changed her story multiple times, and her parents began to act suspiciously. Soon, the FBI got a warrant to search the Anthony family home. When they searched the property, they found some strange things, including chloroform, a shovel, and suitcases full of women's clothing. But they couldn't find any trace of Caylee. The FBI also discovered a stain on one of the seats in Caylee's car that looked like it could have come from a body. They took samples and sent them off to be tested. When the results came back, it was clear that there was blood in the car. It was Caylee's blood. Everyone was shocked. How could Caylee have put her daughter in her car without realizing that she was dead? Caylee Anthony was arrested and taken into custody. The media quickly picked up on this case, and it became one of the most publicized trials in recent history. Everyone was talking about Caylee and wondering how she could be so calm after allegedly murdering her own daughter. While in custody, Caylee would have to be taken to the bathroom by her jailers. On one occasion, she asked one of the female guards to buy her some Plan B, which is used to prevent pregnancy. The guard said no, and told Caylee that she already knew that she was pregnant. Months later, Caylee gave birth to a baby boy while she was behind bars. Caylee named him Caden, which is very similar to Caylee. Some people believed that Caylee named her son after her deceased daughter, but others thought that she did it to replace her daughter. Finally, it was time for Caylee Anthony's trial to begin. As the trial was getting started, everyone was reminded of the horrors of this case. Prosecutors said that Caylee killed her daughter Caylee by hitting her in the head several times. After Caylee died, prosecutors said that Caylee put her body in a suitcase and dumped her in a nearby landfill. There were many witnesses during this trial, including Caylee's parents. They both testified that they didn't see Caylee kill her daughter, but they did admit that they lied to the police during the investigation. As the trial dragged on, it became clear that Caylee Anthony was not going to take the stand. Her lawyers argued that there was no physical evidence that proved that Caylee killed her daughter, and they also said that there were plenty of other people who could have kidnapped Caylee. The prosecution then brought in a forensic psychologist who testified that Caylee was a master manipulator. The psychologist said that Caylee knew exactly what she was doing and that she had planned her daughter's murder. But despite all of the evidence against her, Caylee Anthony was not convicted of murder. In fact, she wasn't convicted of anything. Caylee was found guilty of lying to law enforcement officers. She was sentenced to 4 years in prison, but she had already spent 3 years in jail awaiting trial. So she was released the same day she was sentenced. Everyone was shocked that Caylee was set free. Many people believed that she got off too easily and that she should have gotten a much harsher sentence. Others believed that Caylee was innocent and that she didn't deserve to be in jail in the first place. What do you think? Was Caylee Anthony guilty or innocent? Let me know in the comments below. After she was released, Caylee Anthony tried to disappear from the public eye. However, she was spotted at a bar just a few months after her release. Caylee has moved to another state and started a new job. She's also reportedly dating a man who works in law enforcement. Many people are curious about what Caylee Anthony is up to these days. After all, it's been more than 13 years since her daughter vanished. However, it seems that Caylee is trying to move on with her life and put the past behind her. Only time will tell if she'll ever reveal what really happened to Caylee. For now, though, we may never know the truth about what happened to Caylee Anthony's daughter. All we can do is wonder what could have been and hope that justice was served. Caylee Marie Anthony was a beautiful 2-year-old girl who had her whole life ahead of her. She was loved by her family and friends and will be missed by all who knew her. The Caylee Anthony case was one of the most publicized trials of the 21st century. It captivated the nation and had people talking about it for years. Despite all the media attention, there are still many questions surrounding this case. What really happened to Caylee Marie Anthony? Who was responsible for her death? And will we ever know the truth? These are questions that may never be answered. But one thing is for sure, Caylee will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so you never miss an upload. Also check out this playlist for more videos like this one. Have a good one.